I'm Sherry and this is Gardening in the North. And today we're going to be talking about peppers, more specifically pepper seeds and pepper seedlings. So over the next 5 to 6 months, I'm going to be doing a series on 5-minute gardening. And I thought it would be a great series to do for all of you who are finding yourselves really pressed for time, but you might have 5 minutes to spare and you might be able to watch this video and maybe put it to good use. So today what we're going to be talking about is when you should be planting your seeds indoors, what you should do once you start to see some germination, and when you should be potting up those seedlings. So let's talk first about when you should be planting your seeds indoors. Now, the first thing you want to do is go on your preferred search engine and you're going to type in, when is my last frost date? And you're going to put the location in which you live. As soon as you do that, you're going to get a slew of things that come up, and you might even get a date that pops up. Now, one of the websites that I like to use is the Farmer's Almanac. And the reason that I like using that site over all others is because it goes into so much more detail. It actually tells me other vegetable seeds that I can start and other vegetables that I should be actually direct sowing outside and the dates when I should be doing that. So it's really informative. Check it out. I'm sure you'll like it. So back to when you should be planting your pepper seeds. You're going to do all of that. You're going to find out your date, your last frost date for the area in which you live. And then you're going to count backwards 10 to 12 weeks. And that is the date that you're going to start your seeds indoors. Now, when you start your seeds indoors, you want to make sure that you're using a seed starting mix. And I will link above the video that I just did on how to make your own, and you can save 57% of your money. And you want to make sure that that soil that you're using, that seed starting mix, is room temperature, it's moist before planting your seeds into it. So once you've planted your seeds into your soil, you want to make sure that you give it a nice little drink with a spray bottle on top, and then you want to cover it. So you want to cover it with anything that you have. If you're using a container that you are recycling and reusing and it didn't come with a cover, then you can use saran wrap. If you are using a seed tray then that came with a dome, you're going to use that dome. And you're going to put that container or that seed tray onto a heating mat. And you're going to leave it. The next day you're going to come back, you're going to check the soil, make sure that it's still moist, give it another spray. I usually spray it for a couple days, and then I stop spraying on top and I actually start watering from below. So you might want to gauge whether or not your soil is getting the moisture that it needs. As soon as you start to see more than one of your seeds germinating, so you have a few, I'm going to say maybe 30% of your seeds start germinating, then usually what I do is I turn off that heat mat and I put on my lights. Now, if you don't have a grow light set up, then you're going to want to move that tray or that container that you're growing your seeds in to a south-facing window or to your greenhouse if you have one. Once you've moved it out into your greenhouse or into your window, or you've turned on your lights, you're still going to leave that cover on. You're going to leave that cover on until your seedling actually touches it. At that point, you want to remove it. You don't need it anymore. So let's talk about potting up your pepper plant or your pepper seedling. When you start to see germination from that seed, the first thing you're going to see are 2 identical leaves on a skinny little stem. Now, that is not the time to pot up your seedling. It doesn't matter how big or how tall you think that seedling is, it is not ready to be potted up. You want to wait until you see the first set of true leaves. And to give you an example, I'll show you this one here. If you look at these leaves here, these purple ones, those are the first leaves that came up, that germinated from that seed that I planted. Now, those are the first leaves, as I mentioned. But before you pot up a seedling, you want to make sure that you've seen the first set of true leaves. And so these leaves here, these greener ones, are the true leaves. And if you look right in here, you'll see that I have another set of true leaves starting. So this would be a perfect time to actually pot these little seedlings up and give them the space they need to grow. When you pot these seedlings up, you want to make sure that that potting soil that you're going to be putting them into has the nutrients that they need to grow. When you first planted that seed, the seed had everything it needed. It didn't need that seed starting mix to have nutrients in it to grow that seedling. The seed provided everything that it needed. But now that it's a seedling, it actually needs nutrients and fertilizer to continue on to the size that you need it to be to then produce the fruit that you want. I hope you've liked the first video of this 5-minute gardening series, and I hope you'll come back to watch the rest of them. Thanks for sharing your time with me.